another view from the van with Paul from Magpie 24/7. Driving strong opinions on everything Newcastle United. Magpie 24/7. By fans, for fans.
How's everybody doing? It is Paul from Magpie 24/7, and yeah, the weather's pretty much matching my mood. Pretty dull, pretty pissed off. It's overcast, it's shitty, and there's snow on its way. Not great, but I tell you what will make me feel a lot better is if Newcastle United later on today manage to do what they need to do. It's a make or break 90 against Southampton at St James's Park, formerly known as a fortress. These days, goodness me, it's like a points version of a food bank. We're dishing it out to everybody who is in need, and of course we come into this game us on the back of a defeat. A real kick in the bollocks. It really was. And they come into this game off the back of a 9-0 annihilation, but that doesn't tell the entire story. Yes, it was against Manchester United, but it was mainly against the referee, a referee we've had our run-ins with. One of their red cards has been overturned. They will be missing a few players. There should be no excuses, and no, Steve Bruce has already got his excuses in early because he likes to do that. He likes to plan for failure. Honestly, that man's birth certificate is an apology from the condom factory. It really is. I'm at the point now, I'm jealous of people who don't actually know the fucking piece of shit that is Steve Bruce. Goodness me. Yeah, we go in, he's already got his excuses in. Well, Lewis is going to be out and Clark's missus is having a baby. All the best, Mrs. Clark, but I hope and pray you hold on to like at least the evening. Please, I beg you. We've got a few missing. Fernandez, we knew about. Lascelles isn't going to make it. So our options at the back are limited. I pray that Clark's available. It'll then be Clark and Fabian Schär, who, it must be said, didn't have the best game last time out. And it's not surprising when details emerge about the fact that in his head he'd actually already left Newcastle. He'd packed his stuff up, his clothes were sorted, he'd arranged a flight and everything to move to Italy to go and play, I think it was for Roma. But Newcastle pulled the plug on the deal when we didn't get the Turkish lad in. So you can't imagine that his head is in the best possible place. He knows his long-term future now is not at Newcastle, but we are desperately relying on him. And why? That's because another one of our centre-backs, who, you know, we're probably paying a large percentage of the bloody wages for, is still over in Spain. Newcastle not deciding to recall him back. Typical Steve Bruce manoeuvrings. So yeah, with the players missing today, Paul Dummett, surprise, shock horror, is injured again. He spent virtually the entirety of last year injured, came back, has got injured again, thought we'd be available today, no, he's injured. So it really is, like I said, bare bones at the back. Yedlin has departed. He could have been another option today for the full-back slots, but you'd have to think the back four, Clark's misses, Willen, and please, I'm more than happy for both of you, but please, let Kieran play in today's game. It's going to be Fabian Schär, it's got to be Kieran Clark, and you would imagine, because I can't imagine and see a possibility where Matt Ritchie comes in as a left back. Left wing back maybe, left back not in a month for Sundays, he can't do the job. So in that sense, I would imagine that Emil Kraft will come in on one side, probably the right, and Javier Manquillo will switch over to the left side, which he can play, he can do. I mean, some people say he's fucking awful on the right side. He's less effective on the left side, but he's going to be another option there, another possibility. We can't be taking risks, can we, with Lewis? He's our only left back, because let's face it, Dummett will just keep repeating the circle. And I called it out on the Facebook page recently. Can we justify a place in our 25 for Paul Dummett moving forward? Great lad, local lad, through the academy. I get all of that. No doubt about his passion and commitment for the club. But he is injured more than he's in the pump Darren Anderton, for those of you of that generation. So, no. As much as it pains me, because I want people like Paul Dummett, he can play left centre back, left back, although obviously a defensive left back. And he's not the world's best footballer, but you can't do it. On these days where there's only 25 slots available, we can't afford to carry many passengers. Speaking of which, still over the moon that Lazar's gone out of the building. I know some of you have said, well, Lazar could have done a job for us there. I don't understand that. We could have registered him rather than Atsu. No. Best part of him dribbled down his mother's arse crack when he was born. So we'll just leave that one as there. He's yet to sign for AC Milan. That was the rumour. That was what was doing the round at the time. I almost fucking choked. No, you don't. Not at Milan. You don't have him at left back. You really, really don't. So yeah, it's going to be a bit mend and a bit makeshift and a bit cobbled together, the defensive line today. But as Isaac Hayden said in the Chronicle today, fuck me, we're not playing Liverpool. Well, they're on a run, aren't they? But we're not playing Manchester City, Manchester United. We're not playing one of these so-called top six, or the cartel as they're known in some areas. We're not playing one of them. So there can't be any excuses. I mean, what's going to happen? Is these excuses going to come out all of the way and up to when we're relegated, and then we're kicking off next season, as Kyle said on one of his posts, playing Rotherham away, and he's still banging on about, well, it was a great result against Everton. One swallow don't make the summer, does it? So we need a win. Let's face it. It's only because the bottom three are doing absolutely terribly. But we know when there's fixtures like Brighton v Burnley, you know you're in the shit, because either which way, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. I think the best for us at the moment is we've just got to hope the bottom three lose and accept the fact, pretty much, that if we're anything higher than fourth bottom, it is a absolute miracle of biblical proportions, because I mean, we haven't deserved anything else but that, have we? You know, it's always a worry. I'm more worried about Fulham. I'm cut straight to the chase. I honestly think West Brom, especially after that Sheffield United result, West Brom are gone. Sheffield United are gone. I mean, they won't give up the ghost. Of course they won't. But realistically, with the wins they've got at this stage of the season and what they've managed to do, it's going to be a tall order to get much for them. But Fulham, on the other hand, they've got a goal scorer or two. They're a tidy team. They're capable of nicking results and doing things, and we're only one or two injuries away in certain areas from a full-blown blasted crisis. Imagine, touch wood, touch anything. We don't want anything to happen to Callum Wilson, because if it does, your next layer, given and bearing in mind that Dwight Gale, I don't know, he must have nicked one of Steve Bruce's kebabs or something, but you're down to Andy Carroll, who, again, just like Paul Dummett, hasn't the best injury track record. He hasn't the best goal scoring record as well, it must be said. But you've got him, you've got Joe Linton. It doesn't fill you with confidence when that one player scored like 60 odd, nearly 70% of all of our goals and assists this season. we need to keep him fit. You know, they've got a few more different options up top where they can get goals from. So we've just got to pray at this point that Fulham lose a game or two coming up. We win a game or two coming up. I know we've got a difficult fixture list backing up at the moment, but if we can get 1 or 2 wins in the next sort of couple of games, and bearing in mind today's game is huge, and then you've got West Brom in the not too distant future. If we can get, say, 2 wins there and then just match Fulham, swing for swing, we'll be okay. We'll stay 4th bottom. And of course, that in the Ashley and Charnley households is cause for an absolute celebration. They will love that, because just remember his remit. We've gone to remits from, well, we're going to try for the top 10 progression. Bruce has backtracked, Major League, and now of course it's all about remit and what my remit is and what I will be judged by. This coming from, of course, the man who proclaims himself as a Geordie. Unfucking believable. But yeah, I've still got major worries about our Premier League future with this man in charge. Rumblings this week about a director of football, and then you bring Graham Jones in as manager. The only thing he should be director of is director of fuck all! The fucking useless bastard. If only his dad had a wank that fateful fucking night, I tell you, the world would be a happier place. Like I said earlier on, I'm jealous of the bastards who don't know him. Lucky as fuck. Really, really are. But yeah, huge game for Newcastle. Can be no excuses. The defence will be patched up. I would bring Dubravka back in. And it would be between him and Isaac Hayden for the captaincy, because I am sick and tired of others having to step up because John Joe Shelby can't, or hasn't the skill set or something to be able to lead and inspire. He's a useless choice as captain, but that's not surprising, because it's a useless man who's actually picking the bastard standing captain. Steve Bruce is a useless bugger, and John Joe Shelby isn't much better, barring a good goal of Thundercunt in the last game out. But we all know he's only effective on the edge of the box. That's his trick. Edge of the box, taking shots. And of course, he's got his little champagne manoeuvre, his party trick, his 50 or 60 yards screamer. But you know, he's trying to play champagne stuff when the rest of the Newcastle team is happy to be sipping on fucking iron brew. Do you know what I mean? It ain't good. So I would make changes today. The new lad from Arsenal looks decent. I must admit, I've only seen him from Thursday Night Football last season for Arsenal. I watched a few of their games, saw him, was impressed. He played well against us as well, of course. Scored 10 or 11 goals in his time at Arsenal. Bit of a box-to-box player, something we are sorely missing. I was screaming out for. Not the most inspiring of signings, but just like Isaac Hayden did when he come in from Arsenal, you've got to give him the chance, and he has been promised games, so you've got to imagine he will come in today and start today. I hope that is with Isaac Hayden. You drop Shelby and you drop Hendrick, hopefully from a great fucking height. And in front of them, Alan Saint-Maximin, back fit now according to Steve Bruce. Play him if he's back to full strength, because he's our talisman. He's somebody who you can pin your hopes on, and this, that and the other. So Alan Saint-Maximin, one side in front of him. In the middle, Miggy, run his absolute fucking socks off. We'll champion Miggy all the fucking time, because he doesn't matter how good or bad he plays, the effort is there 150% every match. And I tell you something, the likes of John Joe Shelby could take a lot of lessons off that lad, I'll tell you that. So in the middle, Miggy, one side ASM, the other side Ryan Fraser, who has come and been back into a little bit of his own, seems to have shook off some of these injury concerns. Long may that continue, because again, he has something to offer this team. He's looked decent in patches and spells and moments during the preceding games, Leeds and the likes, Everton obviously, and even against last time out he looked decent. Against Palace. So again, I would put him in, and obviously behind Wilson. But if you're going to play the three and going to play that system, it is imperative that Wilson for Newcastle doesn't look like the bastard Wilson off the fucking Tom Hanks movie, the fucking Castaway one. I don't want him to be on his own tropical fucking island all by himself. Get some support to him. Get some players round him. We need Fraser, Miggy, ASM all buzzing around Wilson, and I think if we can do that, we can cause them more problems than they cause us, and we can score a few, and then that gives the cobbled up, patched up defence as much chance as possible to shut Southampton out, who will be hurting and who will want to respond after that absolute clusterfuck last time out, 9-0 against the Prawn Sandwich Brigade, and the referee obviously Mike Dean. But it's all about us. Fuck the opposition, man. If Brighton could go to Anfield and get the 3 points, right? There's no way benefit these days. There really isn't, with no fans in this, that and the other. Newcastle need to go, play the football with the shackles taken off, create the 20-odd chances like we did the last game, keep the 60-odd percent possession like we did last time. We'll get a few more of those shots on target, cause a little bit more nuisance in and around, and let's get a few goals. Let's continue to get better football, better quality of football, a few goals, and let's get the 3 points on the table. And it is huge today. Lose, and cabbages won't be the only things that's getting thrown about and tossed about round Tyneside. But win, and it takes a little bit of pressure off and allows us to limp painfully every step of the way towards the finish line at the end of this season. And goodness me, I think most Newcastle fans just desperate for the season to be done with, desperate just to stay up, and then desperate to see what happens with the world's longest and most complicated transfer ever. It would be easier if Captain Spock or whatever came from Vulcan or wherever to Earth to try and buy the football club. The Premier League would probably be more fucking open to an alien coming down and trying to take over the club than somebody who's got bags full of money and is eager and wants to develop the football club. You'd think the finances being as shite as they are in football at the moment, you'd think they'd want people with wealth in the game to generate something and to get the transfer system and the market going and to cover all of the issues that have been good. But that's the Premier League. I could rant on them bastards for hours on end. Richard Cockmaster. Goodness me. So yeah, huge game today. No excuses, Steve Bruce. I saw you being a sly bastard trying to sneak them in to your press conference. I was like, if I'd have been there, I'd be like, right, shut up, Bruce, man. You radgy bastard. I'm not listening to this shit for a second. Getting your excuses in before the match has even taken place is damn right disgusting. Not good enough whatsoever. A bit like some of these other people's driving over here. Goodness me. But yeah, an old-fashioned traditional 3 o'clock kickoff today. That's a fucking rarity in itself. Let's see what it brings. We will be doing the podcast later on. Very much looking forward to catching up with Kyle and dissecting what's going on. Owen as well, maybe coming in and joining us also, so looking forward to catching up with Owen. Good lad. Plenty of crack on about Newcastle and everything else like that. I hope everybody is okay. Again, apologies if some of the language at times used is a bit strong, but this is just what happens when it comes to, passionate opinions. I care about what is happening to this football club, and I can see the iceberg dead ahead. And yet the person who's at the helm of the ship has got his fingers in his ears doing his best impression of Jose Perez and telling us all that everything's going to be alright. I'm not as convinced as that man, clearly. Anyway, fingers crossed that the lads do the goods, they do the business. Let's hope the team news and the shape of the squad and team is decent. The last thing we want to be doing is going to back to 3 at the back and maybe chucking Emil Kraft in there and Isaac Hayden at the back and really going, you know, defensive and back to type. I'm not having that. The players have shown that they can have the percentage. They've shown that they can create loads of chances when trusted. It's just a case of getting more shots on target, scoring more goals, and also concentrating at the back. We can't afford to do what we did last time out and just concede 2. I mean, the first one was a thunder cunt with deflection, but the second one, I'm sorry, like, you should know about Kale. It's avoidable. It's totally and utterly avoidable for me. Yeah, looking forward to seeing. I was going to say Joe, not that Joe, not the Brazilian who can't play fucking football. Joe, no, Joe Willock as well today in loan. Going to make his debut, I feel. Interesting to see how he gets on. I hope he does really, really well. The young lad. If he doesn't, he's a young lad in his mood. It's his first move. He's been at Arsenal since, 5 or 6, I think, on one of the interviews I saw. He's been there all of his life, put it that way. So it is a big, big jump to be able to go from your comfort blanket of probably the Arsenal bench up to Steve Bruce. Let's hope he hasn't been Bruce all fucking ready. Jesus wept. I must admit, one last thing before I go. I had to laugh. The Southampton players have been complaining. The pools have been shut. These different therapy pools and chambers and oxygen tanks, all this, they've all been closed. Coronavirus. Fair enough, you'd say. Poor lads in Newcastle have never bloody had it, have they? Wheelie bins with ice in chucked outside. Paddling pool's got a puncture, lads. Fucking hell. Better get a puncture kit off Sports Direct and get it repaired. That's the difference, isn't it? Goodness me, I hope that this Ashley regime hasn't got much longer left to go. He drains the absolute life force out of us. But again, I don't want to get going on Ashley because it's probably not good for my health, and this match is coming up and that'll stress me out enough anyway. In the meantime, yous all take care. I'm just doing my essentials and stuff at the moment, heading back home shortly to start to gear up towards the match. So hope you join us. Keep an eye on the pages and the socials. If you don't already do, like and subscribe to all the pages. Take care, keep it tuned, and I'll speak to you later.
It's another view from the van with Paul from Magpie 24/7. Driving strong opinions on everything Newcastle United. Magpie 24/7. By fans, for fans.